Most weapons in Fallout 4 are straightforward. Pull a trigger to deliver damage, or use a melee weapon to crack your opposition open like a piñata. But we're not here to play it safe. Yo dudes and dudettes, this is Ketchu, here to answer the burning question: can you beat Fallout 4 with only mines? When the baby cried, I wanted to see if Codsworth would do something about it. He didn't. Useless. I almost got stuck in a corner trying to escape parental responsibilities, but just like fighting my way out of a sleeping bag with a straight jacket using my drool as lube, I managed to wrangle myself free. I was one bad decision away from calling the fire department for backup. The character seat rang the doorbell and I told him all about my specialties. But first, the name, Landlord. Because if anyone wants to step on my land, well, they're gonna pay for it. Strength 3 for Armorer, Perception 5 for Demolition Expert. Duh. I trained Charisma because it's useless. 6 in Intelligence for Science. Agility at solid 6 to get Moving Target. Luck 3 for Bloody Mess. Extra damage. And I dumped the rest into Endurance so I have enough stamina and health to run away when things inevitably blow up in my face. I put more thought into this than normal, because if I learned anything from my previous challenge, it's that I should do that. I was pretty excited. Wife wanted to go on a picnic later. I tried escaping, but that wasn't an option. Gave her an excuse instead. I regretted using the sports. I don't even watch the sports, and she knows that. This is going to come up later. TV was fear-mongering about war. What else is new? I stood as close to the TV as possible, because up yours, mom. I'm an adult. I do what I want. The rest of the room got to enjoy the real show. My butt. Codsworth was unsure if he wanted to exist anymore or not. The bombs fell. I cosplayed as Fry. Wife fell into a YouTube-friendly forever coma, and after ignoring her, I fried most of the roaches in the vault with the Tesla coil. The rest of the roaches got lured into the back rooms for permanent storage. It went so poorly, and I needed a steam pack just to survive my own recycle genius plan. I called in the elevator to the real game, reached topside, and realized Fallout 4 had been infected with the same plague that ruined Fallout 3 and New Vegas. Pop-ups. I'm happy about the added content though, with loot rattling in my pockets. I set my pedaling limbs on good springs, ignored Codsworth like a spam email, then went on a full contact looting spree, ransacked the environment like a raccoon with a crutch, pocketed everything that wasn't bolted down, and even some things that were, then funneled everything into fence posts and wire fences, nearly hitting level 5. I stopped at Red Rocket for a hat, skipped Concord since I didn't have any explosives, and traded my entire net worth to Carla for a single mine. At Drumlin Diner, I hatched a plan. Until I realized sneaking was never an option. My next move also bombed. Attempt number 2, keep more distance. That didn't work either. Round 3, I got too close to the diner. Leveled up, accidentally intimidated Wolfgang, and it worked. Cast in the XP for more HP. According to my math, that worked out. Minus 1 arm. Luckily, Rudy had one more exploding frisbee. I didn't think twice. It was mine. As a finishing touch, I redecorated the diner's entrance with Wolfgang and his body as a warning for anyone thinking of messing with my mine dispensers. Back at Sanctuary, I slapped together some water pumps, chucked the finest rusty tap water, and, shockingly, healed my shattered arm. Adding that to the medical journal, drink water, regrow limbs. To progress, I needed some pressure bangers. I bugged Codsworth for extra XP. He handed me a note from my late wife, which I stashed on the toilet. Next, I snuck past a drive-in notorious to me for its bottle cap mine, which I've had blown up all over my face more times than I care to admit. The local rodents weren't having it, so I saved my mines and bolted. There was a lonely bar in the middle of nothing. I stopped to say hi and showed him a wild corn I picked from a gutter earlier. Then I swung by Cambridge police station to help, cosplaying as a statue while dance took a beating. Meanwhile, some cute cops which were doing a physics are optional dance. I swiped Reese's meds because I needed them more than I cared how much he needed them. Clearing out ArcJet systems was a breeze. I crouched behind Dance and let him do the heavy lifting. Once I got bored of watching him getting shot, I cooked him, made sure he was still on the raw side, waltzed in over-encumbering speed through the rest of the building, got the laser rifle from him, and I began making my way to Diamond City, after stopping to stash my stuff inside the nearby trailer. On the way, Miss Rosa and her crew boosted my speed with a good slap. I caught the fight between DC guards and orcs. I've never seen the guards lose the fight before, but I was more than happy to snag their stuff. stuff. At Diamond City, I sold all my loot, went back to Arcjet for more, then tried to settle a family feud with my mines. After 2 tries, it was clear it wasn't working. There was no way I wasn't going to meddle. Once the trading dust settled, I ended up with a grand total of 9 curb stomp coupons. Progress! Next on the list of things I could do, I went hunting for good neighbor, found an extra mine near the swamp. The locals strongly objected to my navigational aspirations. Had to call in Capot security like a kid dragging their older brother into a fight. After scouring half the Commonwealth, I found everything except good neighbor. Ever lost your keys? This was worse. At least keys don't shoot at you. So I put that disaster on hold, headed back to Sanctuary, grabbed 2 more mines from Carla, then made a pit stop at 10 Pines Bluff. Helped myself to all their tomatoes. The locals even chipped in by handling my pest problems. A real community effort. When I kicked off my mine purchasing spree with Trudy, my corpse threshold idea was a total bust. But it was not a big deal. Actually, I got more stuff to sell. Trudy had 2 more oopsie daisies for me, and Percy coughed up another 2. After sitting still like an NPC on a timeout for several hours, Arturo sold me 4 more mines and Myrna tossed in 1, bringing me to a 20 mines total. Next, I tried to rescue Preston, but Concord was weirdly chill. Raiders were just hanging around, Preston vibing unhelpfully. I lost patience fast. Inside the museum, I attempted the old surprise pocket mine, but combat mode said nope. Gave up and went for the traditional route. Explosions first, questions never. Tried baiting another raider onto a mine. Lost both hands. Thankfully, my job doesn't require fine motor skills. Also, these idiots have 0 self-preservation. Once the museum was looted and enemy-free, I bailed before talking to Preston, dumped my haul at Sanctuary, returned to Concord, and grabbed the power armor on the roof, just to hear what the unique dialogue is when you sequence break. Back outside, I rushed to release the Deathclaw from his den to take care of the pests, while I casually browsed the corner store. When the raiders seemed to have the upper hand, I stepped in. Deathclaw had wedged himself between some cars. A tactical mine toss flipped him over. After that, he actually watched his step around me. I even managed to land a mine on its head without triggering it.
What?
Shout out to Power Armor for tanking the collateral damage. Once Carvey was done yapping, I tried ghosting Mama Murphy. Game refused. Okay, so they don't leave unless you entertain this Delulu granny. Back at Sanctuary, I helped Sturges for some easy XP and nearly fainted when I saw Mama Murphy actually doing work. After reaching level 10, I finally unlocked Minecrafting. The sad thing is, they are not cheap. From there, I ran my usual trader circuit to stock up for whatever nonsense comes next. With 21 illicit fireworks bulging in my pocket, I was ready to rescue Nick.
That's creep though.
Made me explode with laughter. I lost phase when wrangling with the first group in Park Street Station. Turns out, phase tanking explosives isn't the heroic power move I imagined. The first wave of triggerment chewed through 5 mines. Not ideal. Before heading downstairs, I used my loot and caps to replace the lost mines, then marched back to the station. After carefully, slowly, silently, accidentally, skillfully, and painstakingly dismantling the lower level guys like a bomb squad intern, I dumped my loot by the entrance for easy access, because nothing says future me's problem like a dragon horde of stolen goods. I've got 2 side plans brewing, so I'm collecting everything I can. Details later. Meanwhile, 2 stooges debating vault ventilation volunteered as mine testers. They didn't even blink before munching on a couple. Beautiful. At the catwalk with about as much cover as on a nudist beach, I lost patience, popped some medics, and proceeded to jihad my way through. It went smooth as sand. I nearly tumbled into the one-way abyss, but clawed my way back for another round of trader roulette. My scheme to give Nick a front row seat to a fantastic show bombed, when Dino stepped off frame after I dropped the life's chili turd down his pants. Still, his exit was fire, like a reverse WWE entrance. Before setting Mr. Gadget loose, I skipped downstairs to rig up a surprise for the incoming goons. And just like a boy's first time, expectations blew up prematurely. Before the door even slid open, truly a heartbreaking letdown. Nick, ever the trooper, was happy to take the heat, but his clock tracking speed lit my fuse. I hurled a mine next to the last of the bunch. Its dud act left me in disbelief. Sacrifices had to be made. Deeper in the vault, a trigger guy and I reached an unspoken understanding. If I didn't get close, he wouldn't either. So, nice day? It was a tense standoff, a silent agreement in a minefield of mistrust. My lack of mines forced me to be imperturbable with Nick, but close to the heat death of the universe, we finally made it to the last door. Skinny Malone and his goobers were waiting. I flipped one of my prized possessions next to them, a bottle cap mine. Curiously, it hesitated, so I held back my laughter while politely asking for a peaceful exit, knowing full well I have the charisma of a clogged drain. I wanted to roast him, but you shouldn't mock plus-sized people. They've already got enough on their plates. Even though we were headed the same way, I told Nick to freak off and went to mine the traders again. Turns out, affording a stockpile of boomboxes is harder than surviving without them. After finally scrapping the rest of Sanctuary down to its bones, I built some water pumps. Step 1 in my long-term master plan, becoming the Commonwealth's water baron and using my vast hydration empire to bankroll my explosive habits. Turns out, just sleeping around didn't magically generate water. I actually had to sit there for about 10 real-time minutes for the harvest, whittling my thumbs. Well, the pumps thought about making me rich, but eventually the plan would work. Money buys materials, materials buy more pumps, pumps make more money, and money buys more mines. Simple, tedious, soul-crushingly slow. I got bored fast, so instead I started duplicating items using a glitch I learned from Paul of Mitten Squad many moons ago. It's a bit finicky, works great for base components, but if you try duplicating a gun, you just get scrap parts and one sad lonely gun. Meanwhile, to the settlers, I probably look like I got few screws loose. At first, I was multiplying stuff with my water business in mind. Then I included nuclear materials and gold I could trade for shipments and canned explosions. Then, after 2 full hours of financial wizardry, I had an epiphany. I could just print the exact chunk I need to craft mines. I had successfully reinvented common sense. My brain is so huge right now. With 48 mines jingling in my pocket, I went to talk to Nick. Ellie tossed some wordless garbage my way, but I promptly yeeted it back into their faces. While waiting for the geriatric ATM to process the door, I got bored and slipped a live mine into his pocket. Shockingly, he was fine. Before I could get into Kellogg's house, Piper decided to be nosy, so I responded with my usual brand of verbal pepper spray. The secretary, on the other hand, was much more agreeable after a little bribery. Caps are worthless to me now anyway. My empire is built on purified water and mass-produced terrorism. I made a pit stop at Piper's place for some easy XP, answering her questions with as much mustard as I could squeeze out, purely to make her job harder. Then it was time to sniff out Kellogg's cave. Dog meat, ever the good boy, got tricked into thinking I had a treat when I didn't. It's a crime, I know, but escort missions suck, and he's lucky he's a dog. At the part with the rats, I almost shocked myself to death when I accidentally chucked away my Kellogg special. Predicting where those little poop stains pop up is harder than expected, so I just gathered 3 mines around and let dog meat mouth the aftermath. Psych! I got bored. A well-placed land jalapeno obliterated 66% of a feral mud pack. Dog meat took out the last of its distant cousins. A mandate of heaven enjoyer ascended to the afterlife via hurt frisbee, and I did a world a favor by turning a mosquito into fine red mist. Round 2. Pooh Bear, dog meat, and more mosquitoes engaged in a no-holds-barred free-for-all. I tricked the bear by leaving some bang biscuits by his food stash. If it would work on me, why not him? A random free-range dog even joined the motley sense of complete disorder and confusion. Boom! The bridge ghouls finally seared some respect for explosives into the space somewhere behind my eyeballs. I did my civic duty by vaporizing the whole maggot brain squad. Their remains could be buried in a matchbox. By the time I reached Fort Kellogg, I had already blown through nearly 20 mines. Time for a supply run. Back at Sanctuary, I cooked up more boom booms and beefed up my armor with more blast resistance. Figured it was about time I stopped dying almost every fight. Returning to Fort Kellogg, I zoomed past the turrets to conserve my land spice. Wizened from my past mistakes, I left a friend repellent on the other side of the door, and corner peeking with mines turned out to be an S-tier strategy. I've never paid attention to it before, because there was never a need, but the pathfinding on the AI is dog water. I could stand in a stairway, and they'd fail basic geometry, even when I made noise like a dinner bell. Navigating the fort was a war crime against my patience. Had to trade an arm and a leg just to get through. Downstairs, I lit up the whole room with my banger moves. Against my better lack of judgment, I tried using a mine on a ceiling turret. I faced the consequences. Let's be honest, when you clicked on this video you expected me to fling mines at enemies instead of playing smart. And you were absolutely right. Sometimes it's okay to meet expectations. I don't get why everyone fears the sins. All it takes to defeat them is a door, just like the aliens in Science. Sometimes, retreating and leaving behind mines like dog turds by the roadside is the smart play. This is exactly what I didn't do. The brain damage had me spinning a little, making hacking even worse than usual. Finally meeting Kellogg, I hand-delivered his long overdue lunchbox. Anyone who's been inside him knows all he really needed was some love. The remaining sins couldn't comprehend the game of catch I had in store for them. Side note, my water empire wasn't a mistake. It's the only thing keeping me alive through this impulsive lifestyle of mine. Up on the roof, I shut down the turrets, then blew them up for XP anyway. Meanwhile, the Brotherhood of Steel was putting on their usual display of aerial overcompensation. Out of the 51 mines I had when I entered the fort, I was left with 13. Correction, 12. Next up, talking to Nick and Piper, upgrading my immortal guards, and crafting more ground grenades. I stopped by Charles View Amphitheater with a foolproof plan. Embarrassed brother Andrew with a fart pillow. Of course, some of the vlog might not appreciate my highbrow humor, so I prepared, just in case. Naturally, I can't have a conversation without something catastrophic happening in the background.
I didn't listen to anything, but I better agree. That's how I deal with real situations too. I'm just trying to talk here. Things are going absolutely haywire. This is why Bethesda games are amazing.
Sounds good. Well, that's just, I know you're going to
I have no idea what's happening. Okay, I'll follow him now.
Some clueless crayon eater just had to step on my landlord special, triggering a glorious chain reaction that escalated my harmless prank into a full-blown incident. Somehow, nobody had the brain cells to connect this sneak attack to the stranger covered in explosives.
Occupado?
The rest of the cultists attempted to storm the office, presumably to file a complaint with HR. I kept tossing mine through the door until the screaming stopped.
No! Stop coming here!
The last guy, the one smart enough not to join his friends in the shortcut to the afterlife, jumped like a startled cat when I slipped a cucumber of mine into his pocket.
And like that, we went around.
Then I made a pit stop at the swamp to spice up Shrek's life, just because. From there, I headed north in search of a better neighborhood. On the way, a feral doggo scared an explosive reaction out of me. He thanked it like a champ, forcing me to endure 2 explosions just to put down 1 dog. Then, with almost no effort, I found Good Neighbor, like a slap in the face. Through the gate, I slid a package hiccup into Finn's pocket. Unvivi was amused. Fahrenheit turned out to be essential. Deacon didn't care about my opinions.
Put too much weight on that leg until you've tended to it.
Yeah, sorry about that. Did you take any damage or is it just me?
And I tried to make Nick and Dr. Amari kiss. It got pretty awkward. After Dr. Einstein pointed out everything in the room that wasn't a brain, I took a tedious stroll down the memory lane, endured the doctor again, ignored Nick on the way out, and geared up for the glowing sea. On the way, my face got assaulted. Again.
I hate those things!
And my strategy to blow up some ghouls worked beautifully, proving that sometimes, just sometimes, a plan actually comes together.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Ow. You mind?
The surviving skinless freaks did, in fact, mind, and they nearly sent me to meet my ancestors. Right before hitting the Green Hill Zone, I did some advanced calculus involving a death glove and pebbles with a punch. The answer was 6. A Commonwealth's equivalent of a dragon immediately crashed afterward. Either a trainee got into the VV pit, or my oops rocks gave the entire gravitational balance of the wasteland an aneurysm.
Ow! Can you guys not?
Inside the glowing sea, some red scorpions wanted to season my bloodstream. I bombed them until they stopped twitching, then got too close and got jump scared into throwing a punch instead of a mine. Since punching isn't in my skill tree, I had to reload.
You guys still on about that?
Something you should know about the glowing sea. It glows green and it sucks. End of story. At the crater of Adam, the game tried to turn my head toward the leader of the septic suckers, but I'm a man. I'll die before I ask for directions. Right outside Virgil's cave, his pet lizard was sleeping. Luring it into my prepared unpleasant wake-up call turned out to be harder than expected. mostly because it had the awareness of a corpse. He was ahead of his time. Inside the green man's hidey hole, I got a long-winded explanation of my next objective. I placed some extra neck support on his bed and was off to dismantle me a corsair. This is where we get serious. The make-believe man's hiding in Greenwich. Finding it was easy, since it's big and green and a tower to boot. Now, I just had to scale the darn thing and blow up the door trapped on top.
Okay, guys, look at this. 360! So cool, how undignified. There we go.
The Gunners are always such a treat to deal with.
Oh, a yoga master I see. So relaxed. Hey! You scared me! Dance of I don't care. Doesn't matter which way she goes, there's a mine.
The way Gunners just refused to learn their lessons made them very relatable to me. The same rigged doorway kept subtracting them from the dog population. Don't worry though, it hurt them more than it did me. When trying to lure Gunners into a trap of their own making, I somehow landed a mine on its side like a coin. Celebratory dance followed. After getting bored, I tried to trigger the trap myself, but it didn't work out. Disappointed! Messing around in the next room almost cost me more than a few limbs. At the top, I was trying to prepare an unwelcome mat for the corsair, but the stupid drone walked into it before I was done. This resulted in a very messy fight. Next, I tried to chain together some mines to take out everyone in the room with a single detonation, but somehow the gynoid triggered a chain of happenings that ruined everything I had planned for the event.
Wait!
On the next run, I managed to light up the whole room. I left no witnesses as is the standard. Dr. Amari pointed me towards the railroad squatting beneath the Old North Church, like a bunch of historical reenactors who forgot to go home. I did them a favor by clearing out their upstairs schools, attempted to make some pancakes over a barrel fire, and did the world a bigger favor by blasting the team railroad away. Frick! After making myself at home in their basement and greeting Pam, I realized it was much faster to just wipe out the dogs than sit through their self-important speeches and analyze the corsair chip myself. Back at Sanctuary, some brand spanking settler had taken over my bed. The one bed I placed outside without a roof. I didn't let it slide peacefully. Inside the Green Nerd's cave, I fixed his neck rest, got the plans for the teleport snatcher, went back to Sanctuary to talk to Preston, and agreed to deal with his Tempine's bluff problem. With the settlement's issues off Preston's mind, he agreed to let me play with Sturges, and I found Nick short-circuiting in the back room. He was raising a short circuit. I guess that's what I get for not checking on him at the den. So, anyway, I joined him. I built the teleporter, while Sturges cheered me on from the sidelines, offering his signature moral support and zero practical assistance. As is tradition at this point, I made it as hard as humanly possible for him to actually use the machine. Then, with a blink and a spark, I found myself inside the Institute. Hoping that Father had a camera connection to the elevator, I performed a little dance number for his viewing pleasure. Attempted to safely detonate the kid's cage open, tried glitching inside, using nothing but raw determination and zero knowledge. In the end, I settled for just yelling at the thing. Then, after stealing everything that wasn't nailed down, I introduced Sean to Budget Sean and agreed to work with the Institute. As the new Institute intern, my piss-stained lab coat and I went around greeting the department heads. That got old fast, so I took a detour to visit the monkey enclosure.
Yeah!
I stopped by the requisition vending machine for some fresh threads, run a short one-man fashion show to find a clean jacket, but, tragically, the dirty backwards apron remained superior. Next up, meeting X6 near Lipetalia for a rogue synth retrieval mission. His presence was like a clumsy elephant trying to sneak through a library. Impossible. Stealth? Gone. Immediately. Helpful, really. Ignoring everything and everyone, I swam straight across the drink.
Nothing. Maybe now? No? You're durable. What the flip? Yo, chill. Hello.
Turns out, even if you ignore your cyber chaperone, he'll still shout the override code at you without locking you in conversation. Which is faster, which equals better. For the first time in recent memory, I managed to destroy the synth before X6 spat out the code. Nobody but me was happy about this. Then it was battle for Bunker Hill O'Clock. I snuck past all the bad lads and rude folks like a rat trying to avoid a broomstick. Power walked my way to the hostages in the basement and prepared to send them back to their maker as scrap. My worthless companion was not a fan.
No!
But did that stop me? Nah, I tried again. The universe loves a good rerun. Next, I went to meet father, who was less than thrilled about my ongoing streak of complete incompetence. Despite my track record of failing literally everything, he still named me his successor at the directorate meeting. Me! It wasn't all doom and gloom though. Apparently, father's got a terminal disease, so at least there's that. Guess I'm not the only one whose plans are falling apart. Next on my to-do list, mass fusion. Ali joined me on this mission, acting as the meat shield with opinions. Really wished for a force push out here. She was a surprisingly effective bullet cushion. The elevator was glitched. The gate was locked tighter than a cat's judgment. I tried using the access card from the other side, only for the elevator to take a trip without me, like it had better things to do. When I finally got on it, I dropped the scribe as a warning to others. I entered this place with 40 mines thinking it would be enough. The tanky big boys ate through my supply like a buffet.
That's not a grenade, stupid. Just because I use them like grenades doesn't mean they're grenades. Do you have to do that? It's not a melee weapon exactly. Nailed it.
As expected, I prepared for the incoming electronic assault by turning the control room into a makeshift minefield. Got the beryllium alligator, took my second bath since the run started, and wept in the shower like a soggy potato, while Ali did the heavy lifting on what remained of the mechanical mayhem. With only 4 mines left, I gracefully bowed out of the lobby fight. I start by Sanctuary to quickly craft more mines, using my patented double finger technique, which involves cooking with a keyboard in one hand and controller in the other. The future is now. Was I happy? Or was it 112 mines bulging in my pocket? One thing's for sure, Ali was still holding a grudge because I left her to die. Fair. Out to get my next assignment, I rudely interrupted father's friendly co-op mole inspection session. Decided to science what would happen if I blew up Dean. Conclusion? I wish I could reload safes in real life. I had Grey Garden duke it out with the nearby mercenaries. The mercs never stood a chance. Not because Grey Garden is OP, but because they were gunners. The Institute had been sowing the seeds of paranoia into Wallace's mind for years. Today was Harvest Day, and who better to do the job than me, the least charismatic thing you can imagine. The previous scientist who failed got sick of watching me follow in his footsteps, and promptly ordered a deep strike on the guy. I took a nap in Wally's bed, using him as a plushie, and used his bedroom as bathroom, while everyone else waited patiently. They understood. When you gotta go, you gotta go. Later, father invited me to be his mascot during a speech. Then, he sent me to a meeting because he couldn't be bothered. I stood on the table so everyone could see me better, then officially kicked the gears of Brotherhood's funeral into motion. Before leaving, I started loading mines on a table. Why? No clue, but I eventually settled on replacing the coasters with mines. It's just a prank, bro. Rosalind handed me 3 Institute beacons, told me not to toss them into bay. I immediately tried them in the next room to see if they worked. I'm a scientist too. At the Brotherhood of Steel's base, I somehow managed to destroy one of the 3 generators through the floor. My explosions have officially evolved past the 3rd dimension. For generator 2, it dawned on me. The generators don't trigger the mines. Luckily, there was a random land shark nearby I could use as a fuse. On my way to the last generator, I got a little cocky and got a flash pass to the afterlife.
Whoopsie. Oh no, when did I save?
On the second round, I wasn't so lucky with the first generator. Fortunately, the land shark hadn't learned his lesson. The first generator, that was now technically the second, didn't require any finesse. Now the third one. Oh boy. I threw a mine at it, and a nearby turret shot the mine mid-air, activating it, and turned the generator into modern art. Talk about luck. With the generators down, nothing stopped my homies from relaying sins onto the battlefield. Meanwhile, a modified probot did unspeakable things to Liberty Prime. I kept pacing back and forth, scattering mines like breadcrumbs, especially at the choke points. I didn't really see the enemies. I only heard explosions and screaming. Once Probot was done injecting its synthetic code into Prime, he done pass out on the floor. Relatable. Then, Prime violated Bridwin in broad daylight, and I was teleported to safety to watch it go down in flames. Back at the Institute, I prepared a tasteful composition of stuff on my dying son. If that's not a website yet, let's hope it never will be. Sean was officially sick of my shit. He gave me the look I'd expect from a cat when you won't stop bullying it. I made our last moments together very memorable. After the ending Interesting cutscene. Someone had managed to finesse father's corpse from under the mines. Impressive. What came next shocked even me. I decided to conduct a highly scientific experiment. What happens when you introduce a high-velocity fish to a mine? Spoiler, it's not very peer-reviewed. This launched me into an infinite explosion loop. A quick reload purgatory. I was forced to redo the entire previous paragraph again.
Check this out, check this out. He's freaking strong. Yeah, another one. Go, go. Come on, come on. You can do it. Oh, he's struggling. But he got it. No, that's enough. Nobody's spotting you.
I'll mark it on your map.
Can you not, Preston? Not right now. Can't you see we are training here? It's time for a speech. My dear subjects, I am the king here. You drool, I rule. Got it? Good. Dismissed.
We're almost done here. This was the second thing I was working on in the background. Behold, a picture with all my fans. Somebody in the chat said it was nice of me to let my fans on the stage with me. On stage, huh? So naturally, I built a couple of spotlights and improved the stage just because. It was a pain to get Dogmeat to sit still for the picture.
Dogmeat, no! Don't come out, stay in there, please. You know what? That's good enough. No, Dogmeat, no! Dang it! Get in there, get in there, get in there. Get in there!
And I beat Fallout 4 with only mines. That's it for this time, folks. Somewhere around the halfway mark, I started streaming this challenge while recording it. If that's something you're into, there's a link in the description. If there isn't, roast me in the comments. I can't be trusted with this. I'm also looking to stream my future challenges in case you ever get curious what the next story is or where it's going. But I can change my mind at any time because that's how I am. Working on it. Do the engagement things to help me out. Tell me in the comments what I could have done better or if you have other challenges/games for me to play. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Take care now. Bye bye then.